Hello. It is me. It's been a while. I've been busy. I've been doing stuff. Okay, I've been eating the grass and like smelling grass and just like stuffing it in my face. Grass tastes good. I highly recommend eating grass. Anyway, it's kind of been jarring to like step away from the internet and internet culture as a whole and then kind of come back and see what it's turned into. Like I have pretty much been off Twitter for like the last year or two, and I went on Twitter again for the first time in a long time, and my god, all of these people, thousands, millions of people are all trapped in their own little echo chambers, thinking that they're doing something, thinking that they're changing the world, that they're changing minds. And every single day there's some new manufactured controversy that everyone has to weigh in on and give their hot takes on, and everyone has to agree with me. If you don't agree with me, well, you're a bad person, you're a horrible person, and you need to be destroyed. And it's like that's just not a good way to live your life. Like, you trap yourself in this small box. You get this small little tiny view of the world where all you care about are these irrelevant ass controversies on the internet that don't even matter. And I'm just gonna use this as an example just because I saw this what a lot of people was talking about. But apparently Hasan Piker like shocked his dog on stream. Now, I'm not gonna say one side is correct or one side is not correct, although it's looking increasingly evident that that was a shock collar. I don't know if he actually did shock his dog or not, but it seems pretty clear it was a shock collar that had the capacity to shock his dog, but he kind of hid that from his viewers, and I find that kind of fucked up. Like, this guy is willing to just lie. I mean, he could have just said, yeah, it is a shock collar, but I didn't shock my dog. I took the prongs out of the shock collar so it can't shock him. It just vibrates. But instead he had to like cover it up and pretend that like this wasn't a shock collar at all, and he's kind of like lied and changed his story numerous times. But like, depending on which side of the internet you're on or which content creators you follow, your take on this situation is wildly different. Like, if you're a Hasan fan, you are going to defend Hasan no matter what, and if you hate Hasan, well, you're most likely going to believe that he shocked his dog, and you're going to agree with anyone who says that he shocked his dog. And no matter what evidence you have of the contrary, it's not going to change your opinion because you're already biased. You're predisposed to having one view or the other. And I feel like people are lacking nuance. Something as simple as this scenario that I've outlined here will determine who your friend group is and who you are surrounded by. If you're a leftist, but you think that Hasan shocked his dog, well, you're not a leftist anymore. You're a Nazi. You hate Palestinians or something. That's what they're gonna label you as. If you hate Hasan Piker and I don't really know what Asmongold is. I can't really define someone like him. But if you're one of those people and you're like, no, I don't really think Hasan shocked his dog, well, then they're gonna start calling you like a piece of shit or a communist or something, a Hamas supporter, because you have one opinion. You think one thing that one side or the other disagrees with. Well, then you are labeled as everything that they label that side as. And I think that's a problem, because like, what happened to just like disagreement and discourse and finding a middle ground? People are just so trapped in their echo chambers, in their bubbles, that it is hard for them to think outside of their bubble. And I do not think that that is a healthy way to live your life whatsoever. And it's just kind of sad because these people are limiting themselves. They are harming their own humanity, their own soul, whatever you want to call it, their spiritual health, their connectedness with society, because they are trapping themselves into a single bubble. The world is so much better when you allow nuance, when you allow different perspectives. Now, that's not me saying that like racism is okay and like we should just like be friends with racists and stuff like that. Like, no, obviously that's completely different. But at a certain point, if you're going to label someone something because of a slight difference of opinion that they have, if anything, that's going to incentivize them to end up on the other side that you disagree with. And then they become that reprehensible, horrible person that you said they were at the start. Psychologically, we define ourselves by how other people define us. That is a human social thing. That is how we function. So when you disagree with someone and then you define them as something or someone horrible, they're either going to avoid you and interact with people who don't define them in that way, or they're going to define themselves in that horrible way and they're going to become that horrible thing that you said they were. My best advice is, if you have any sort of opinion, any sort of hot take, whatever it is, try and dissect that. Why do you believe what you believe? Is it because someone told you to believe that? Is it because a charismatic figure said that and you agreed with them and you thought they were funny? Or do you genuinely believe that? Do you genuinely feel that these are your values? These are your convictions? And if so, would you not want to convince someone of those convictions? Arguing is not convincing. If you truly want to convince people, you need to start by forming a middle ground, by talking, by having genuine conversation without resulting to argument and insults. It is so easy to fall in line and just agree with whatever the popular opinion is. Instead of doing that, try and think critically. Did Hasan shock his dog? If so, why? And if he did, what does that mean? Did he lie about having a shock collar? Well, if he lied about having a shock collar, maybe he's lied about other things. At the very least, even if you agree with Hasan and you think he's fighting the good fight, this should at least get your brain chugging a little bit, like thinking, like, maybe this guy is not as trustworthy as I thought he was. Maybe I shouldn't take everything he says as gospel. And on the other side, maybe you should think, like, maybe he didn't shock his dog. I mean, his friends are saying he didn't shock his dog, and it looks like he had the shock thing removed from the collar and he had tape on it. So maybe he wasn't shocking the dog at all. At the very least, it is worth trying to comprehend what the other side is and why someone might believe that, especially before labeling people as horrible people without even trying to understand why they would believe something that they believe. Like, for me personally, I think Hasan probably did shock his dog, but it's also possible he didn't shock his dog. And I'm able to hold both of those views. So if I am confronted with someone who believes that Hasan shocked his dog, I'm not going to judge that person and hate that person. And on the other side, if I'm met with someone who's convinced that Hasan didn't shock his dog, I'm not going to hate that person either. I know these are like such small, like micro examples, but it's indicative of a larger pattern that I've been noticing on the internet. And I don't think I'm going to change the world, but maybe I'm convincing someone to change the way that they think. And if I can change the way that at least one person thinks, then I think I'm contributing to at least some good on this hellscape we call the internet. I don't know. I just feel like we need actual like discourse and conversation and understanding. Like, what happened to that? Isn't that like what it means to be human? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Convince me.